guys, welcome to another episode of Today with Ray. I'm your host, Rhema T, and this is the show that highlights everyday entrepreneurs. This week we have guest Brandon Lindsey with the Mobile Brake Docter. I'm super excited because this is a one-of-a-kind business, guys, so make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button, plus the notification bell, so you'll be the first ones to know when a new episode comes out. I'm going to open up this interview right now. Brandon, how are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. So before we start, I want to tell the funny story behind Brandon even coming on the show. I was at a networking event in the midst of leaving, and someone else that was there randomly was just like, "Hey, Brandon, you need to talk to Rhema. Rhema, you need to talk to Brandon. He owns a business." And from there, here we are. So,
here we are. That was a fun night.
It was a fun night. I appreciate Nate for putting us together. Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself and how it is that you came to be an entrepreneur.
So my name is Brandon Lindsey, and again, like you said, I own Mobile Brake Docter. And how it all started is one day I had a day off working my 9-to-5 job. And my buddy called me and told me that his car got towed all the way from Wilmington, and he lives in Clinton.
Oh gosh!
And he got towed because he ran his brake pads down to absolute nothing. Mm-hmm. All four wheels just ground down. Needless to say, he had just gotten his license, so he didn't want to take it to a shop to have it repaired.
Right.
But he did go and get an estimate, and the estimate was absolutely outrageous.
I'm sure.
And we're talking a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
And so he called me because he knew I worked on cars. I have a long history of working on vehicles, and so he asked me. He said, "Brandon, can you just go look at my vehicle? I know it needs brake pads and rotors done, and this is what the shop quoted me on. I can't really afford that. Mm-hmm. Can you go do that?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I made the hours-long drive to Clinton. Yeah. And got up there.
You're a good friend.
Yes. And got up there, and it was bad. He had no brake pads left. One of his wheels was there was nothing even stopping the vehicle at that point.
Oh, goodness.
And so that's probably why he had to get it towed. And so I get it all done, and I got all four wheels, all four brake pads, rotors, everything done, changed, test driven. Mm-hmm. With that size of a job, I had it done right around an hour and a half.
Wow.
And called him, told him everything was good, and gave the keys to his mom at that point because he wasn't there. And so I left, and on the drive back home to Wilmington, I had enough time in between just sit there and think. And I was like, wow, I can do this.
Right.
This is a new industry, and as fast as I was able to get it done, I can also be able to, save people money. Mm-hmm. So provide the convenience, save people money, and just an overall better experience for the car repair industry.
Yeah.
And so within the first 30 minutes, that's what I was thinking about. Well, it only took me about 5 minutes after that fact to come up with the name.
Right.
And so I was sitting there driving. I was like, okay, got to have mobile in it.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have the word brakes in it.
Right.
And then so I was going back and forth between mobile and brake. And then that's when it hit me, repair. And because of how bad his job was, it was almost like surgery.
Okay.
And basically having to go in, clean everything up, try to get it back to normal shape. And that's when it hit me, doctor.
Wow.
And so I was sitting there, Mobile Brake Docter. It's catchy.
Yeah, it is.
It's very catchy. And so that's kind of how that came about. And from that point, I just I had the idea. It took me a little while to understand how I was going to go about doing it. But I had a lot of support behind me. And from there, it's history.
Wow.
And here I am now, and 2 years later.
Yeah. I love the story that you first saw a gap or a need in an industry, because those are always the best businesses when you can find the solution to an answer or to a problem. And secondly, I've interviewed people where they've sat and contemplated, gone back and forth, waited for it to be perfect, but you were just like, no, I got it. I can do this. And took that leap. There was no tense or anything. And I love hearing the story behind even the name. Yeah. I mean, the name really is catchy. And I think that's a testament of just trusting your intuition to say, hey, I can do this, and here you are, still making moves.
And it was in the beginning. It was just like all entrepreneurs starting out. It was
Sure.
It was definitely a big step. It was scary. But like you said, I took it and I wanted to run with it.
Yeah.
And, finally took the leap to, once I got all my ends tied, took a leap to step away from my full-time job and just ran.
Yeah.
So
amazing. So to clarify, mobile being in the name itself, tell us how you are the one-of-a-kind business here in Wilmington.
So, like you said, it's in the name. We are one of the only, if not the only, mobile brake repair business, a very specialized service. We do get the calls about, hey, can you work on my transmission? No.
Yeah.
I need an oil pan replaced. No. It's not that we can't do it. It's we choose not to because we wanted to specialize the brakes, the rotors, the suspension.
Right.
So that way, whenever we arrive on site, the customer knows that what we do at the final product is going to be done to perfection. And so that's kind of how that is. And we pretty much, mobile, we go just about anywhere. Just last week, we got a call. A guy broke down on the side of the highway. His wheel collapsed. We ended up going out there and getting that all fixed up and got him back on his way in about an hour and a half.
Wow.
So being mobile, we honestly mean mobile. We go anywhere.
Listen, guys, I don't think you're understanding the gravity of this. So you can be at work, at home. That doesn't mean that you need to cut hours from your job. That means that you don't need to find a babysitter because you have to sit at the mechanic for hours on end. That's incredible. I mean, I really want you to hone in on the fact that, like you said, it is a one, if not only, business here in Wilmington.
Right.
Amazing.
And we actually had, I just wanted to put this one out there just as kind of an experience that we had. We had a lady call us, and she was actually, nonstop all day long. And she just couldn't be at home. She wasn't working that day. But she did have a bunch of errands to run, and she had to get her brake pads replaced. And so she called us up and explained to us. She said, well, look, I know you guys are mobile. What's your time frame? This is what I have to do. She actually had to go grocery shopping and for the week. And so we actually ended up going out there. We met her as she pulled into the grocery store. She went in, did her grocery shopping, and by the time she was done, we were sitting there waiting for her with the keys. And so
that's cool.
She was back on the road again, didn't even have to stop. So
wow. Yeah, and I know grocery shopping for a week can take me upwards of like 2 hours sometimes.
Right. Well, it was pretty fast. I mean, we did sit there for a little bit, for something like that. And because we are a specialized service, we are able to get it done in a very timely manner.
Right.
But it was just the look on her face when she came out. Just
I'm sure.
That's what we strive, is just that awesome experience that we can give people.
Yeah. So I want to know from the professional, how and when do you know that you need to get your brakes replaced?
So there's a couple ways of knowing. The telltale sign is if you're driving and you hit the brakes, you're going to have some squeaking noise.
Okay.
That's your very first sign. On a brake pad, there's a little pin, usually on 90% of vehicles. We have come across some that doesn't have it.
Okay.
But what happens is once it gets down to that pin, you're about 25% brake pad left. And what that does is it slowly rubs the rotor, and it makes like a nails on a chalkboard squeaking noise.
Okay.
That's your first sign. And once that starts, you usually have a very, very short time limit. You're talking a week, 2 weeks probably before that pin breaks off. We get a lot of customers that claim that, it started squeaking, but then it just went away. And I thought everything was fine. And
yeah.
That's why. Because the pin breaks off.
Okay.
And you basically ignored your warning. And now at that point, the noise is gone. You're still going to stop.
Yeah.
The next step is now you're going to be metal on metal. And it's going to grind down those rotors. And now you're going from squeaking to a very loud, just grinding sound. Like you take a sheet of metal and drag it on the ground. And so those are the main two signs. And then obviously we always do free inspections, which inspection meaning we go out to the consumer's house. And if they even have a, hey, it's been 3 years, I haven't had these changed, we'll actually go out there and just measure them.
Okay.
And we can do that without even taking the wheels off. We can measure them and let them know exactly where they're at, approximately how long they have left. So there's a lot. Those are the two DIY signs.
Okay.
But outside of that, we want to make sure everybody knows that they can just give us a call at any time, no cost. And we go out there and look at them for you. So.
Yeah, I know some of my viewers out there, y'all's brakes are squeaking. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to talk to Brandon a little bit more about the Mobile Brake Docter. Hey guys, it's me, Rhema T. Have you been loving the content from Today with Ray? Well, while I'm working on season 4, make sure you head to the YouTube page and watch all the previous seasons. There's so many gems, so many inspiring stories, so make sure you head there. Oh, and don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Hey guys, welcome back to the episode. Listen, if you are here in Wilmington and you know that your brakes need to be changed, but you don't want to leave work, or you got the kiddos, so you don't want to leave home and go sit in the mechanic's office, I have the perfect person for you. We're sitting here talking to Brandon from the Mobile Brake Docter. In the first half, we talked about everything his business, how do you know if your brakes need to be changed? And so in the second half, I really want to start the question. You said your business has been for about two years now.
Started December 26th of 2021.
Nice.
Wanted to wait until after the holidays.
Yeah.
And made the official announcements on day after Christmas. So.
Hey, what a big holiday surprise. And I'm sure that going into that new year, a lot of people were like, I need to go ahead and start getting stuff in order now.
Especially once they're tax season.
Tax season, that's a great
tax
point.
Season was right around the corner, and gave people a little bit more of a comfort area.
Right. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges or some of the things or growth that you've seen for yourself in the last couple of years that you've started business? So
some of the challenges, it's an interesting question. So some of the challenges that we've come across, even being a very specialized industry, it's very, you would think brakes, rotors, suspension, struts. How hard can it be? There's a lot more to it.
Okay.
Every car is different.
Right.
And every year they're coming out with new ones and they're changing everything. A 2005 vehicle's brakes, same model, same everything. Now you have 2024, same vehicle, just newer. Brake system's completely different. Now you have electronics.
Interesting.
So we had to upgrade, and we had to get specialized computers in order to go in and release emergency brakes. In order to release them and reset them. Because without it, you would never be able to work on the vehicle. That's one of our biggest challenges is just trying to adapt to a lot of the newer vehicles.
Okay.
But it hasn't been too much of a challenge. We get out there and, before we work on it, we observe exactly what we're doing, kind of take a look at it, and then we'll go into it. And so that's one of our biggest challenges on top of rust.
Oh, okay.
Rust is another big challenge. A lot of vehicles. Wilmington has become a bigger retirement community now.
That's true.
A lot of people from up north, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, all those places.
Yeah.
They're coming down here, and they've been up there with the same vehicle for so long, and all the salt on the roads have rusted everything out.
Gotcha, because of the snow. Oh, okay,
And so you're going into a 2023 vehicle.
Right.
But the bolts don't come off anymore.
Oh, gosh.
So you now have to, we have a specialized tool now instead of torching. We have a heat induction unit where we can actually go in without flame and heat everything up. But even then, that's another challenge that we face is rust, having to overcome that. And sometimes a simple 30-minute job, the infamous a 30-minute job turns into a 3-hour job.
Right.
It's very true.
Okay.
Especially when certain factors like that come into place. And then you asked about expanding. Like I said, December 2021, we started this. We wanted to. It just like all small businesses, it takes a little while to grow. So after the first 2 years, we noticed that every single year we're almost doubling what we did the last year.
Wow.
And one of our biggest questions, being in the brake industry and being mobile, was, can you come do my oil change? A lot of people, especially teachers and nurses, they can't leave work.
Right.
And so we will. Initially, it was an add-on service. And so if we were already out there doing your brake replacement, brake repair work, we'll do the oil change as well. Well, then it became to the point where we started getting a bunch of just oil change requests.
Yeah.
And being the setup that we have, it's a giant shop on wheels. And even though we have very little overhead, there's not a whole lot of profit margin in the oil change network, in the oil change field. So it was hard for us to be able to go from Wilmington to Leland to Burgall to Hampstead just to do an oil change.
Right.
And so as of January of 2024 of this year, we decided to expand. We decided to have we have an oil and battery division.
Oh, wow.
And a much smaller setup. So a lot less fuel being used. And so now with that, we are able to take just oil change requests, battery replacements, and it's this exact same concept. It's under Mobile Brake Docter, and but it's strictly oil and battery. And we'll go out there. Additional add-on services like the other part, engine air filters, wiper blades, small stuff like that.
Right.
So we're excited to be able to announce that and kind of see how that grows and go from there.
Yeah, and I think that's very interesting, especially the point that you made, like with teachers, first responders, people that are contained to one space for a long period of time, and maybe they don't want to use their weekend, for that purpose, but they have to get it done. I really appreciate the work and the gap that you're filling in that. I heard some of the cities that you mentioned that you go out to. Is there a radius, it's like 20-mile, 30-mile radius that you conduct business around, or is...
Absolutely.
Are you pulling Clinton drives for just regular people?
Very, very rarely are we going up to Clinton. We have had the opportunity to go to Raleigh once.
Okay.
We don't try to make that a habit.
Right.
But it is all in the consumer. Our main radius is 65-mile radius within Wilmington.
Okay.
And the reason why we did that is because, like we initially discussed, we're one of, if not the only one. And so we want to be able to offer that convenience and that experience to everybody. And so we're slow. We started with the 25-mile radius. Well, then we started getting calls further. And so now we go up to 65-mile radius, and we find that in those areas, there's a lot of the country areas, rural areas. There's very limited shops, and if there are shops out there, we've gotten a few complaints that they're just not very reliable. Kind of scared. A lot of customers are scared to walk into them.
Right.
And so they'll call us, and we'll go out there, and so that's one of our biggest things is we'll go Ocean Isle Beach, Oak Island, Hampstead, Jacksonville, and it's fun because we get to see a lot of different atmospheres, a lot of different landscapes, and meet all different kinds of people.
Yeah, and I can attest to how fun that is when you get to meet new people. But I want to backtrack, especially in the rural areas. That word is not the best to say. Rural. Especially if you have what they consider like a country accent, that rural areas, how unpleasant it is when you only have a couple of shops, because now those people can charge almost twice because they're the only one in the area.
Right.
And they I know me personally, women in general, we will let our car go to crap because we don't want to go to the mechanic, because we always have that silent notion that they're going to charge us an arm and a leg just because we don't know what the heck goes into the car. But I know one of the things that you pride yourself is that you get the same type of equipment that mechanic shops use around town, correct?
We have exactly the same.
Right. And so to lessen the burden of having to go to a mechanic, I really urge you guys to utilize mobile brake service. I can't even express just the awe that like Wilmington doesn't have this. Except for you, like, and amazing.
Yeah, and one of those, and not only do we, we strive in providing the convenience and that awesome experience that you get to actually work with the technician working on your vehicle,
right?
But it's also very, very budget friendly. So, because, being that we are mobile, we have a giant shop on wheels.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what it is. And we're able to keep our costs much lower, material costs, labor costs. And by doing that, we're able to offer the exact same parts, the same service, and just an awesome experience for 50 to 60% less than what a shop will charge.
And who doesn't want to save money in this economy right now? So I have one last question for you. It's been such a joy talking to you. We talked offline, and I just picked his brain about other stuff also. But if you had any advice to give to someone that was looking to be an entrepreneur, what would that be?
So my advice would probably be a lot different than others.
Okay.
Based on my experience, you have an idea, go for it. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary. I had a great job. I was able to go on vacations all the time, and but I wanted to do something different, like fill gaps. And if you have an idea, definitely go for it. And you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Once you get over that scared hump, you'll feel a lot better. And definitely build a support. Definitely build a support field. And once you have that, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It feels great.
You feel like you could do anything, right?
You literally can do anything.
See, yeah. I was hoping you said that. Yeah.
One of the best things is if you don't want to work one day, you don't have to.
Right. Right. No, I think that's a fun point to capture, because a lot of the times with entrepreneurship, I always joke and say people try to glamorize, leaving the 9 to 5, but you end up working, 28/8. But you also, that just reminded me, you do have the leniency to say, today's not the day for that.
You wake up and you just you're sore, you're tired.
Right.
Hopefully there's nothing already scheduled for the day, but if there isn't, take the day off, enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best benefits of being able to work for yourself.
Right.
And not only that, but just the experience that you're allowed to give people. It makes you feel good.
It does.
Especially in our field. We enjoy being able to walk away from a customer and just seeing the smile on their face and how happy they are that we exist.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's very satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that's a beautiful answer, and I'm sure that a lot of entrepreneurs can attest to the joy that they bring their customers, but also your customers can attest that the joy you have brought them. So, Brandon, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I want to thank Elevate Co-working for this beautiful space. I want to thank my producer, Vance, with Truth and Image, and you for watching this episode. If you have squeaky brakes, again, I have to just say it one last time before I close this up. If you have squeaky brakes, this is the guy you got to see. Until next time, I'm Rhema T. Bye. Hey guys, it's me, Rhema T, and I hope at the end of this episode you felt super inspired to shop within your local community. But make sure to tune in next week where I'll have another entrepreneur to talk about their journey, here only on YouTube.